Welcome to the Buy Box Bandits podcast.
Welcome back to the Buy Box Bandits podcast. Take two on the intro of this one because Bezos isn't paying me enough, so I don't have a new laptop yet. But we got another awesome guest tonight. We got Joe Hart here, who's a full-time reseller and founder of Products for Profit, one of, if not the largest reselling groups on the internet. So Joe, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Pumped to be here. I'm super excited that we got to get it scheduled.
Yeah, long awaited episode. So we're excited to hear your story and everything for the second time. We did the intro already once, but now we're good to go recording the second one. So do you want to take us back and walk us through the semi-boring but interesting story of how you became where you are today?
Yeah, for sure. Started probably 4 or 5 years ago, right after I got married, moved to New Jersey, was living in Florida, working a corporate job, insurance underwriter. And I did the Cube life for about 2 years and was like, man, I can't do this. It was a good, steady job. You know, benefits were okay, pay was okay, but I just couldn't stand sitting in a cubicle and talking to insurance agents all day. So when we moved and got married, I was like, you know, I'm gonna try this day trading app and doing it on the side. And I was doing okay. And then you put a little pressure of trying to do it full time, and you make some irrational decisions. So like every once in a while you'd have a good day and make you feel good about yourself. And then the very next day you lose, you know, $1,000 or something. And quickly realized within a few months, like, I can't do this. I have no money, like no money. And I had debt from the wedding, you know, I booked the honeymoon, went to somewhere nice. And so I got this credit card debt that started getting close to racking up interest. I had to cash out my 401k to pay bills. And I was like, man, I just gotta go get a job. Like, I'll do anything. So started working found a job on Craigslist and started working for a coin auctioning company. They essentially buy coins from dealers and they sell them on eBay and different auctioning websites, which the coin business, or numismatic, the proper name, is like a multi-billion-dollar industry every year. So that was a few of the things that I learned, and all I was really doing was handling their email marketing and shipping out their orders on eBay and for the auction site. And between that and coaching, I've been coaching competitive cheerleading for like 12 years. I was working like 60 to 70 hours a week. But I was still just like coming up break even. Like there's something crappy about like working 60 hours and you know, you pay your bills, you pay off your minimum card payments, and you have like nothing left. That was frustrating. And I was looking at the couple other guys that lived there. I was like, man, or worked there, and I was like, man, I can't do this. Like, I'm not gonna end up like them. Like, I'm not letting myself do this. So I found the site of Twitter, which is a lot different than it is now, which is cool. And I started looking at what everyone was doing, and I saw that people were making money online, which, I mean, you guys are young. You guys started like super young. I'm jealous. You know, I'm 32. And so I started on Twitter when I was like, seriously, when I was like 28, 27, maybe late 27. And I was like, man, people are like making money online, like they're creating stuff and they're creating brands and they're doing copywriting. And I was like, I don't really want to open a brand. I know nothing about it. Copywriting, I suck at. I tried. I don't know. I'll just keep working and figure it out. And I came across Gary Vee, and everyone on this side of Twitter has heard of Gary Vee at one point or another. And I was listening to a podcast on his Trash Talk episode, going to garage sales and just buying stuff for cheap and selling it on eBay. And I thought, man, I could do that. So that's how I started. I legit started with like 50 to 100 bucks in my pocket, started going to garage sales, estate sales, buying coffee mugs, different glassware, stuffed animals, old antiques, decanters, you know, just about anything that that wasn't too large that I could just ship on eBay. And that's really how I got started.
Yeah. So literally charging buy low, sell high, the lowest risk, pretty much I'd say the lowest risk, lowest barrier to entry way to, honestly, I don't even consider reselling making money online, to be honest, but it like totally is in the sense of like internet based and everything. But yeah, and I also say I didn't mean boring story for the listeners sounding like a dickhead on here. I meant we had already goes live. But yeah, all right, cool. And so let's talk, just pivoting quick into the community you have with the group. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's you know, over the past couple of years, I transitioned from like doing the whole yard sale stuff to, you know, doing more RA and OA. And a few years ago, I realized that a lot of people, and this is right when the pandemic was hitting, a lot of people were either losing their jobs, getting laid off, furloughed, and they needed a way to make money. Whether it was maybe they just got their hours cut, they needed to make extra $500 a month or something. And at that time, if you were gonna do reselling, it was the easiest time to resell, because anything that said antibacterial, you're gonna rip. So I thought at first I was legit selling like 3 leads for like $10. And I was like, this is cool and all, but like there's got to be a better way to do this. And I was like, well, maybe we just come up with a group. So you've had Toyfolio on, I think, before.
Yeah, yep.
Me and Toyfolio actually connected in DMs before it started. I said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Would you be interested in going in on it? And he was like, absolutely. So me and him started, and then we started the group, and I didn't really know what to expect. I thought it'd be cool if there was like 25, 30 members in there. It grew pretty fast, and hired some awesome people along the way. And really the key is I hired people that knew way more than I do. Like I consider myself like I'm learning stuff every single day with my personal business, but hiring people and surrounding yourself with people who are much more smarter than you is really the key. And just being a sponge and absorbing. So like I sold on eBay, that was my thing, and Greg was the one doing Amazon. I thought, well, he knows way more than I do. I don't know anything. So that's how it got started. And you know, we've been around for I guess almost 2 years now. So it's going good. You know, always bumps in the road. Always got to pivot and adjust with how you're doing things. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we got started.
Yeah, and I think the key is, or at least this is the way I see it, you had been tinkering around on Twitter for a while, trying different things. And I assume I wasn't around back then a couple of years ago, but building audience along the way. So when the time came to strike, you totally were able to, because you had already built the trust, built up the audience, built up the relationships on the Twitter side of things. I think a ton of people totally underestimate, because a lot of the stuff that's been able to help me with success is knowing a lot of other sellers and everything, and Twitter content's how you do it. So I think an important takeaway from that was you were actively building audience, networking that whole time. You were just lurking.
No, 100%. And you know, I was, before I even thought about starting a group, within my first year of finding, if you want to call this money Twitter, I don't know what to call it. I just think I consider money Twitter like all the health and fitness people I enjoy following, some of the, you know, reselling, copywriting, whatever. I could put them all in one, right? But I was reselling stuff and I was posting it on Twitter every once in a while, and I ended up paying off like the $10,000 in debt that I had from reselling stuff. And what I was noticing, I noticed that a trend at the time is like there was more people finding this side of Twitter, more people were interacting with your Chris Johnsons, your Ed Lattimore, and whoever else. And, you know, a lot of people were talking about building brands, but we were at a stage where like, not everyone had like $1,000 to drop and order some stuff on Alibaba and, you know, get a website, do all that. And I was reselling, just finding random stuff, and I posted, and I was getting engagement on it. And I thought, I ran a poll in December of 2019. I said, if I were to do like a basic intro to reselling course, like super basic, would you guys be interested? And I had something like 90 votes on it. So like, I think I had like 3,000 followers at the time. And like 72 people said yes. And I said, that's it. I created like, it's called the Art of Flipping. Super basic. It was just really my journey. I just did how I got started. And so then I made reselling my thing, because I was like, I really enjoy this. This is fun for me. It doesn't seem like work. And then about like 5 months later, I got let go from my job. And that was the happiest day of my life. Well, second happiest. Can't say happiest, but one of the happiest days of my life. And yeah, it's been full-time ever since. But
Absolutely.
I think, like you're talking about the audience thing, I think people still underestimate that. I mean, Miles, I've watched what you've done over the past 8 months is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up like you, definitely, just like audience wise, because it lets you validate ideas so quick, take stuff to market so quick, make friends, because unfortunately the vanity metric of followers is leverage in a way.
Well, it is, and people don't like that. I mean, you've seen the hate on there. I get the hate. But like, and I'll tell you, it doesn't get any better. But you have a huge advantage, because you are around the age of a lot of people who are finding this, and they're gravitating towards you. And so like, there's no reason why you don't have 100,000 followers in a couple of years.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Something like that, hopefully in the future. But either way, making sure we're having fun along the way. Definitely. And literally, like, important things, like literally a year ago, like Garrett commented on one of my pictures. We had never spoken before.
Yeah.
And Gary V bringing it back. He told me, like, you better be responding to every comment. I was like, Gary, I'm going to message everyone. Garrett was one of those people. And literally like that week we got on a call. And
then ever since that comment, I think we've talked or FaceTimed every single day for the past 2 years, year and a half, whatever it is. And we've made money just from our relationship. I mean,
yeah, definitely. And so in terms of your current workflow day to day, you obviously, community is around 1,000 members or so right now.
Yeah.
And then you're obviously reselling full time as well. So how do you like manage your workflow and everything that you got?
So I have a great group of mods. I probably have more mods than needed, but I will, we kind of spread out the workflow. I'll wake up in the morning and answer any DMs, like direct DMs that I have, post any leads that have been running through scans. But we also have a VA now posting leads, which is actually helping out a lot, because they can dedicate 40 hours a week just to running scans and sifting through data. So that helps. And then also having just different types of providers that post stuff every single day actually helps. And then, so after I answer my DMs, then it just depends on the day. I do a lot of product research during the day for myself. If OA's coming in, I'm getting it unboxed, make sure everything's there, prepping stuff. I'm gearing more towards I would like to be like 70 or probably ideally 80% OA and 20% RA. Right now I'm probably like 60-40. RA takes more time. You guys know this. But I mean, I can go to Ollies once a week and pull out $1,000 profit every single week. So for me, mentally, it's hard for me to turn that down.
Yeah,
like, I'll easily do $50,000 profit from Ollies alone this year. So
all right, let's talk about that, because a couple episodes ago we had Dak, who I'm pretty sure has been, at least in the past, I think he is still involved with PFP, and him obviously being the discontinued product guy. Do you want to tell us about your Ollies strategy? Because a lot of people have discounted stores like that, and I know I do, and I've seen other people killing it with that, but it's probably intimidating to someone who's new walking into a store like that. Just want to tell us some strategy-wise, some really actionable stuff people can take advantage of if they have any of those stores near them.
Yeah. So I almost want to backtrack for a sec about Zach. So Zach's one of my mods.
That's what I
And
thought.
Zach was the first person to ever buy my art of flipping course.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
Because I let it's crazy full circle. He was the first person, because I think I had an email list of like 120 people that I said, day before, I said, hey, if you guys want to get on this, I'll give you guys a discount, and he was the first person to ever buy. So, and then he ends up being a mod and probably, just so valuable in what he does. Like,
great guy.
I just have to mention that because he's the man.
Yeah. And so that's 2 episodes for anyone who wants to listen to that episode as well.
I definitely recommend it. And he's got good stuff coming out in the future too. So you can find some discontinued stuff occasionally at Ollies, every once in a while. And it's, for lack of a better term, it's like a mixture of like a Walmart and a Family Dollar or Dollar General feel. You're not going to get fresh food or anything like that. You can get all your cheap processed food if you want, that's nearing expiration. But they also, they have your bedding and quilts, they have rugs, they have vacuums and heaters and stuff. But then they also have a lot of health and beauty items, some good food items, and toys. And so I do a decent amount of toys, but lately you can find decent, good food items or health and beauty items that expirations are like 8 months away, and they're like 3,000 rank, and they just move. So, it's a little intimidating. What I tell people, like, I post anything that I find good in Ollies, like I post, but like one of my other mods, Matt, who's based out of Kentucky, he introduced me to Ollies because I'd never been to one. And he goes,
I don't think I've ever been to one.
It's interesting. There's a lot of opportunity for people. I mean, it's a little bit of a hustle, but like, you can spend $1,000 and make $1,000. And for me, I'm like, it's hard for me to turn that down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Also a certain geographic advantage just based on who happens to live near them, or just different types of stores and strategies in general. So I definitely.
But I think most people may feel overwhelmed, but I just tell them, like anything new, like just take your time, like go on a day where you don't have anything to do, where you're not expecting to buy anything, and just get curious, like just start scanning stuff. That's how we find stuff, because there's no, like, you can't look on their website online. You can see like what they may be getting in each week, or an idea, but you never know exactly, because they're always rotating new products, or new products to them, not necessarily new. But there's just solid opportunity there. And some people are like, oh, but it's RA and you got to drive around. And I'm like, I spend one day a week where I will maybe go to like 5 different Ollies in Georgia, and I'll spend all day. I'll be gone 6 hours. I'll prep the next day, and could be $1,000 profit, $1,500 here. I'll do that once a week, and I mean that's more than I was making working 60 hours a week back in the day. So, in addition to all the OA stuff, I mean it gives me an excuse to get out of the house.
Which
I mean, like when you do OA or wholesale, whatever route people take, like you want an excuse to kind of break the cycle a little bit. So I use the RA once a week to break my cycle of being around the house or in the garage, the other days. So
is there anything particular that you're looking for in Ollies? I know Zach liked to talk about looking for the dusty items, right? The old stuff that had like outdated packaging and it looked like it had been there for a while. Is there any specific strategies that you implement when you're in those Ollies, or you just kind of scan?
So what I do is I look for brands that I already sell from OA, or other RA, could be Walmart, whatever. But I'm also, because I go in once a week, I'm just looking for something that I didn't see there sitting there last week.
Right, because you're used to the layout.
So once you become familiar with it, like you become familiar, like I have my route of 5 or 6 stores. I know what each store looks like, and I've only been down here a couple months. Like, I know exactly how the store layout is as soon as I walk in. And it's really based on like leads that Matt posted months ago, could be 12 months ago, 8 months ago, and then you just build off of those. You're not going to find the leads from 12 months ago, but you may find something similar. But I can tell you there's just random baby lotion in there, super profitable. I can't give away one of my hot sellers right now because you can still find it. But I'll tell you guys what it is. It's a sub 3K grocery rate, and it moves so fast. I can't get enough. I wish I could find it. I'm determined to find it. There's got to be some supplier somewhere that has it.
That's what building off Dan in the last episode, he had me thinking about kind of a larger scale, going brand direct for different things like that. So I was literally going to bring that up as we're talking about that one item.
No, so that item is moving, I think I have another 300 units on the way. But I mean, the way it was selling first, I mean, those 300 units can be gone in 2 weeks. So it's like, it's great, but at the same time you want more. So like, I was looking, obviously the Keep It chart, everyone knows about that. And I was like, man, this is so good. I've got to find where I can make, buy this once the surge of sellers is off, which anything at Ollies or, anything discounted in store nationwide, you're going to see an increase of sellers, which is going to cause price to dip, which is fine when you understand that. But like when all this supply from Ollies dries up, because it's not like they get restocked, price will go back to somewhat normal within, I would say, probably 6 weeks. And I'm like, I need to get a supplier. I need to find a supplier for this because, this could be something where you sell in 1,000 units a month if you want, and making, at my current margins, I'm making like $5 profit a unit. If you did that, it could get similar price. I mean, I'm not turning down 5K a month. That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Would
you say the majority of your inventory is one-off stuff and stuff you purchase once, or more of the replenishable aspect?
I'm slowly moving to more replenishable. So like Toyfolio or Greg does all buy and hold toys. I'm doing a little bit of like, I'm not all quick flip, but obviously you got to keep, it's a cash flow game, right?
Yep, of course.
So I'm a little bit of a hybrid model, I guess you could say. So I got stuff that I'm holding that I've already bought for Q4 this year. I've got stuff that I'm holding for 3 to 4 months, stuff that hopefully will be profitable 1 to 2 months, and then using things like replens off, could be Walmart, Target, and then the one-off stuff like what you're talking about could be Ollies, right, unless I can plate it for a couple weeks at a time. But I don't buy anything anymore that I can't like buy like 50 of.
Right.
I think people, unless I'm testing out something, I'm not going to go 50 deep on something if I don't know if it works or not. But I mean, what do you guys think out of, I was talking with someone earlier about this. When you go, like, let's say you're testing out 20 products, the Keep It chart looks great, right? In my mind, from my experience, you can pretty much bank on like 10% of those products aren't going to work out how you want them to.
Yeah.
Right.
If not, and that's why, similar to what you had just said, test orders, 5 to 10 units, depending on the size, depending on the capital investment needed for that. Because Amazon's algorithmically based, buy box wise. You want to make sure, I don't know the specifics of this, you're not competing with some 100,000 review wholesale seller who's going to hog that buy box. The way I think it works. So always test order, especially if you're someone out there listening who has a little bit of capital, try stuff. Because even if 2 items flop, if you can sell those other 8 items, the next 4 months, that's going to be a very profitable play.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think people are scared to, like, oh, this one didn't work out. And I'm like, it's not a big deal. Like, no business model is smooth sailing. There's not a single one that I'm aware of that's just perfect all the way. Everyone's going to come up with hiccups. So like out of 100 items, if 20 fail and you got 80 winners, that's a hell of a win to me.
Yeah, especially. In terms of kind of shifting gears, one thing I notice a lot of new sellers being really averse to doing that I think is a very good idea is spending money up front, whether that be, keep a software, things like that, as well as groups like you have, paying for leads. I've been tweeting about that a little more lately because a lot of people are really willing to take action. They just don't know what to buy. And I really like the idea of at the start, this is something I did 10 months ago, 11 months ago, being new to Amazon, actually going ahead and paying for stuff because it pays off both in the leads you get, obviously, but also the community, meeting people, making friends. And that's huge along the way, I would say, definitely.
Right. Yeah, I'm very upfront with people. Like, do I need to be in a group or do I need to buy someone's course? And I'm like, no, you don't have to. You don't have to. You can find pretty much all the information you need for free somewhere. I mean, your guys' podcast offers, tons of information. And there's a ton of other ones out there that got mega value. You can find anything for free, but it shortens the learning curve.
Oh yeah.
Like there's been courses, not even on reselling, but just like growing a Twitter audience. Do you guys follow Hotep Jesus at all?
I don't think so, but I've seen
No.
that. I think that it has helped you a lot, or someone.
Yeah, so that was the first thing I ever bought. I think it was the first thing I ever bought on Twitter. And that course is what propelled me to be able to grow a following because I had no idea how to do it. I was just throwing mud and hoping something would stick. So that for me was a huge learning curve. I spent $27.
Exactly. That's enough.
I spent like $27 and, we're in 7 figures in sales. So like, to me, that's $27 was well worth it,
Oh yeah.
But,
yeah, just to validate the idea quicker that it wasn't for you, right? And then let's get on to the next thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And, some people are like, oh, it could be $50 here or $100 here or $27 here. And I'm like, I would rather spend X amount of dollars, doesn't matter, 1,527, to figure out if this is something that I want to do within a couple of days instead of spending an hour here, hour there over 2 or 3 weeks on YouTube. And I'm not saying that YouTube isn't valuable, but that's just the type of person I am. I'd rather pay to know faster. Like I want to try to get ahead of where I was yesterday.
And the thing is, people go to college for 4 years to find out they're going into a career they don't like, right? Tens and tens of thousands of dollars spent on a college education for something that they don't even know if they like, right? So what's $500, $1,000 to pay for something that you can try for a couple days?
I mean, I went to college. I would never go back, but
I feel the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, I got a degree in exercise science. I personal trained for a few years, but as soon as I graduated college, I realized I could have just studied for like 3 months for a cert and gotten the same type of job. And I was like, why did I spend 4 years? I mean, not all college is bad. The price is outrageous and it's a total scam. Yeah. Like that total scam. But
if price wasn't, the way it was.
Yeah, the price is outrageous. And you figure your first 2 years are all these core BS classes. It's like going back to high school. And I'm like, that's a waste of like 30, 40K, depending on where you're going. I mean,
oh yeah.
Unless you go in community. But yeah, and I can remember a couple of years after I was working in insurance and my dad goes, you probably would have been better off just taking like 10K and going to a foreign country for a few months and trying to live there. And I was like,
yeah, a lot of the guys, talk about that being such a valuable experience that hopefully I'll try someday. But definitely, all right. One of my favorite questions to ask that unfortunately normally you don't get to ask, but I'm definitely going to this one because I'm curious. What did your family members think? Other people in your life when you told them you were flipping pools, beauty products, different kind of things for a living?
I think the person that was most worried was my wife. She goes, she was like, is this going to be sustainable? We just got married. She's hoping she didn't marry a total loser. But she was more like, is this sustainable? I'm like, I think so, but I'm just going for it. you know. Most of my family and friends are fairly supportive. But what's always interesting is, you know, fast forward 3-4 years, they ask, you know, I have friends and family that have asked, oh, what do you do? And I tell them, they're like, it kind of sounds like work. And I'm like, well, I mean, it is. Everything's work. But then I also hear that, like, you don't got $1 to your name. So, like, I legit only had $50 to $100 that I could spend. You probably have more than that. You can do it. But unfortunately, people are, I feel like, are preconditioned to, in this time and age, wanting results immediately. And, you know, someone's comparing their day 1 to someone's year 5. And they get discouraged or they want to quit. I mean, I've seen so many people quit on just all sorts of stuff within a month. And I'm like, bro, you went to college for 4 years. 4 years. And you quit after a month. That to me doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. And now that I've been on Twitter coming up on like a year and a half, 2 years, you notice that only a few, probably a couple hundred or so names that you recognize through the years. And almost everyone's really doing some good stuff because they've stayed committed, they've stayed focused, and eventually getting hit with all the different business models and stuff, picked one
something
thing that clicks.
Yeah.
Something stuck.
I mean, it doesn't matter if it's Instagram. I'm not really, I don't do a lot on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. Like Twitter's my baby, I guess you can say. I just want people, like, if they think that spending time on, if building something on social media is a waste, I'm just here to tell you it's not. It's not. Like, we can talk about the opportunities with reselling. Every single person that I'm a business partner with or that I work with, I've met through social media, other than my one best friend. That's it. He was the only one that ever took action on anything.
Yeah, Justin, right? I literally that on the timeline yesterday. Yeah, and he's doing it part-time, right?
Yep. Yeah. So he's got a full-time job. He does it on the side.
That's what's up. And once again, that's what I love about reselling is it can be exactly what you want it to be. I tweet this every once in a while. If you want $500 extra, very doable. If you want to, do what you're doing, make, whatever, 10K a month profit reselling, absolutely, with more work. But going in, you have to understand what you're actually going after, because you'll need to spend as much time if you just want to make $1,000 a month. And that's completely fine. And seeing dozens, hundreds of people do that, and it's been able to improve their lives, which is very powerful.
Yeah. I mean, I think people get caught up in like numbers, and people are like, oh, I've sold more than you, or blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. Like, I'm just enjoying my time. Like, I'm like, you guys on the timeline and a few other people, like, you guys are teaching me stuff. I'm like, I haven't thought about it that way. Like, maybe I can implement something. I'm just enjoying the time. I like interacting with people. I've got to meet a ton of great people through PFP and Meta, and I'm just having fun with it. Less stress, because now I understand how to run my business full time, to where, like, I'm not worried about money from a reselling standpoint. But that's the most exciting. I mean, it's just fun, and I try to keep it fun. I don't worry about the negativity.
Yeah, the community is what really, for me, and I'm sure you can probably relate, is what makes it fun. You know what I mean? People you relate to in other ways just beyond reselling that you can connect with over things, not just reselling, that ends up also massively growing your reselling success too.
Right. I mean, I just had a guy DM me earlier today, and he goes, hey, I want to get your input. I bought one of this lead that was posted this morning. I found it in store. I said, great, awesome. And he goes, well, I noticed that on Keepa that it was a fairly new listing. Can I get your input? So I throw my input. I'm like, this is more like a test thing. Like, you may be able to make some money on it. It's good that you only bought 2. I wouldn't have gone ham on in it because it's a month old. And then he messaged me legit 2 hours later. He goes, hey man, just want to let you know I listed it FBM. It just sold. And this is my first sale ever, and I was pumped for him. Like, to me,
oh, heck yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
That to me is the most, I I get more excited. Like I think I tweeted about it. I get more excited for other people's wins. I don't care if it's their first sale or their 10,000th sale, you know. Seeing someone make their first sale, though, I think is the most important thing in reselling, because for me, it transitioned my whole mindset. It showed me that like it's doable. It's not just some unicorn that people are talking about that they found. Like anyone can do it. Not everyone will, but anyone can do this.
And that's why it's so beautiful. The barrier to entry very low, the scalability very high. All right, so up here for the person out there who's listening, who maybe they're in a similar situation to where you were a few years ago, or they just don't have as much money extra. What's the Joe Hart action plan for what these people should go out and do?
This is good because I was talking about this yesterday. How I started was I look around my house first. Is there something I'm not going to use? Is there not? And throw it up on eBay. You don't have to be a professional. You take some best pictures that you can off your phone on a blank background or a white sheet, whatever it may be. It doesn't have to be fancy. And you list it. Doesn't matter if it's $10, $20, clothes, old electronics, video games, whatever, just so you can get some listings up. And creating an eBay account takes you 15 minutes. So that's how I started. And then if you had $0, like you had no money to spend, then I'm going on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and going to the free section, because what people give away for free is insane. You won't always find gold out there, but I mean, I know a kid he's 22 years old doing 15 to 20K profit flipping couches out of California.
Crazy.
And he's getting a lot of them for free.
Yeah. Yeah. Or something up like that. I know a guy on Instagram who does that, and that's contributed to poor down payments for rentals. And it's so interesting. A guy who's, aggressively building wealth and also getting these couches for free, selling them for like $200, something like that. And that's obviously great money too, because you figure you go get it, whatever, an hour, you throw it in the storage unit, wait for it to sell and all that. And so I don't have the time in front of me, but we're coming up on 45 minutes or so here. All right, cool. So Joe, thank you for coming on. Definitely. I want some more things on the beginner stuff. So if you want to know, just even if you don't want to sell it, search it on eBay and filter the search to completed sold listings just to get a pulse of what's moving, because pretty much anything you can look up, someone's selling it. You can see what price it's selling for, how often it is, and all that. And then gradually, eBay is a great place to start, just what you have. Amazon as well. You currently do both eBay and Amazon, right?
So I was doing eBay, and then a little less than a year ago, I jumped on Amazon. I've been doing mostly Amazon because after you move to Amazon, you realize how much you hate shipping packages. So you didn't realize it at first, because like when you're making sales on eBay, it's like, it's a cool feeling. But then when you're making sales on Amazon, you don't have to ship out anything. You're like, yeah, this is the way.
Yeah, and greater volume on Amazon, and then obviously outsourcing the individual fulfillment step is super, super powerful. So for anyone that wants to connect with you on social, maybe check out the group, where can they go do that?
You can just find me on Twitter. I think it's Coach Joe Hart _. I don't even know why I still have the coach on that, to be honest. I think when I was still coaching, like competitive cheerleading, I get the comments, or you some type of crappy guru life coach. I'm like, no, that has nothing to do with it. But yeah, just Twitter. My DMs are open. I had them closed for a while because I get like so many, hey, yeah, hi. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. But I try to answer the DMs a couple times a week. I don't answer them every single day because can control your life. So you probably know this. You probably get a lot of DMs, Miles.
It's coming up. Yeah, so that'll be linked below. And for everyone listening who hasn't subscribed, please consider doing so below, at least on YouTube, because a lot of you guys who listen aren't yet subscribed. But yeah, thanks a lot for coming on, Joe. Hopefully we can connect again, down the line, closer to next Q4 or something, and we can run it back. Excited to hear about all the progress then, but thanks a lot for coming.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And thanks to all our Buy Box Bandit listeners. We will see you guys on Tuesday for another episode.